It's the Locked On Flyers podcast for Tuesday, October 17th. Your daily dose of Flyers news, analysis, and high quality content that is a little nervous about the Canucks, I gotta say.
Yeah, there's a good reason to be.
We are going to preview tonight's home opener against those Vancouver Canucks, get into the latest Flyers news, plus it's Phantoms Tuesday. We'll catch up with them all on today's show.
You're Locked On Flyers, your daily podcast on the Philadelphia Flyers. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Hello there, and thanks for making Locked On Flyers your first listen every day. I am Rachel Donner. You can find me on the app formerly known as Twitter at rmiriam. I'm here each and every weekday with Russ Cohen, who's on all your favorite social media apps at Sportsology. As a show, we are on Twitter, Instagram, Threads, Blue Sky, at Locked On Flyers. Today's episode is brought to you by Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use the code LOCKEDONNHL for $20 off your first purchase. You can subscribe or follow us for free over on YouTube. We're on the SiriusXM app. Anywhere you listen to podcasts, subscribe to get our latest episode as soon as it's available here on the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. Well, Russ, we have been talking a little bit over the last couple of weeks as we've gotten into the regular season now about load management, and particularly that for Sean Couturier and Cam Atkinson. And yesterday, Sean Couturier was not at practice. John Tortorella said that he's banged up. That's not related to his back injury, and was kind of like keeping his mouth shut about the whole thing. And, I don't want to like be doomsday about it. It could be nothing. It could just be, keeping him out as a precaution. But at the same time, this was something we did bring up.
Yeah, I mean, he played 20 minutes the other night, whether it happened then or not, or before then. We saw there was a diminished play, and we said it was going to probably take him a little while to kind of get into the flow. And he looked really slow the other night, and I had mentioned that. Again, why did he play 20 minutes? He shouldn't be playing 20 minutes on any night. Him and Atkinson, I mean, again, when you travel, when you're coming off of not being used to traveling anymore, and even though they got through training camp, when you're getting past injuries like this, travel matters. Trust me, when you become an older person and you start traveling, you got to worry about your neck, and it's the same thing for hockey players. They're humans. And so the one thing about, John is, well, if you can practice, you can play. And that's it. It's just full go. And you can't put these guys full go, If you want to put Couturier on the penalty kill, then don't put him on the power play. You got to ease him into the water. I just think it's a bad idea to do it any other way and expect him to just be right up to speed. Atkinson looks a little bit better in that regard. But again, you still have to have some guardrails in place.
Yeah, and we talked a lot about that leading up to the season in terms of, the ideal Flyers lineup versus the one that we would manage with if they were going to give Sean Couturier and Cam Atkinson some downtime or some off days, right?
Right.
And it seems like, they're not going to do that as of yet. Now they could in a back-to-back situation. We haven't seen that yet. So can't say it's not entirely in their plan, but I do think it's something to pay attention to. The other thing to pay attention to related to this is then who do they rotate in at center? And in the most recent practice, that was Scott Lawton, which
Of course.
is to be expected because he's the guy that they go to for such things.
Right. And then if Lawton's in there at center, then you think Brink probably gets his way back into the lineup too. So that's fine. But for opening night, I don't expect Couturier to miss it. So I think that's why they gave him off of practice, and he'll end up playing. But I do think they have to start to consider 3 games on, 1 game off, that kind of thing, until, Because again, the player's always going to say, I feel fine. And then
Right.
after a while, something's going to happen. It's going to be a groin. It's going to be a pulled muscle. It's going to be something. Even if it's not related to that other injury, it's related to the time off and trying to become an everyday NHLer again. Camp does not get everybody through that. That's the whole thing. And when you haven't had a camp in a few years or a year, that matters too.
Yeah, so I do want to talk about the wing situation. So let's just say Sean Couturier goes back into the lineup here. It seems to be a choice between Bobby Brink and Tyson Foerster. And, based on the
Remember we were
first
told it
two,
wasn't, though? Remember we were told, I
well,
swear, maybe
you
I'm wrong,
know,
Rachel, but I swear we were told it was not going to be a choice between those two.
right. Well, given that, we got to go with what we know and what we can work with here.
Yeah.
Right. And so it's Bobby Brink and Tyson Foerster were the two that swapped out in the first couple of games. I think that while Tyson Foerster was in the game that they lost, I think given what we know about Tortorella and what he likes to see out there, it would seem that Tyson Foerster has the edge. But what do you think?
I think Forster has the edge. And I think if healthy, every other veteran's going to be in there because John's going to be like, well, we have to give, we got to pay respects to the veterans. It's like, okay. I mean, but how many games are we going to do that for this year? Like, again, that's going to be the burr in my saddle is how often are you going to do that when like this? Look, honestly, I know the fans would like to see Sean Couturier, but if he is banged up, maybe he shouldn't play. And this would be a good opportunity for another young guy to get in there and give them a home opener. Sean Couturier has had 1 million home openers. Like, you know what I mean? It's like, don't let this one decide what might happen to him this season because you got to get him in there for the fans. Like, you should take all of that out of it.
I know there's a lot of pressure there, though. I mean, I can
I
feel
know.
it myself. Like if Sean Couturier is in a suit on the bench
I know.
at the home opener, like that is rough going,
I
right?
know. But what do you want to get him through the season? It's like, I get it. It's the home opener, but he'll still be there. They can still shine a light on him.
Yeah, I just think that fan reaction to that would be, I would say, mixed at best.
You're right. You're right. But sometimes you have to just sort of go with, what is best long term for the player, for the team, all of that.
Right. And then as far as what you do with the line combinations there, in practice, Bobby Brink was up with Morgan Frost and Joel Farabee, and then Forster was on the Noah Cates line with Owen Tippett as well. And, I'm not sure what the best option here is. I do like Brink with Frost. I think just from a tactical perspective, I think that makes the most sense in terms of which center you have with him in terms of play creation. And I think that Noah Cates needs to be there with Owen Tippett. I think
Yeah, I
you
think
can't break up those two. So
Cates and Tippett should stay together. But honestly,
yeah,
Forster has one of the best shots in the team. So why aren't you putting him with the guys that actually make things happen with passing and vision and everything? Why are you again, this doesn't make sense to me. It doesn't. I understand Brink could play anywhere up and down the lineup, and that's true. But again, until he starts doing it at the NHL level, we don't know if he could do it at the NHL level. He's been able to do it at other levels. But the point is, like, I think you need to have Frost with Forster because that's your best passer. And Farabee
yeah.
makes things happen around the net. And then if the puck goes out to a guy like Forster, all of a sudden the goalie has to worry about that. That guy's shooting a lot of shots. Just minutes wise, you're limiting Forster over Brink, and I don't even understand that.
Yeah, I think that's a really good point. And I certainly hope that they mix the lines up a little bit over the
Yeah,
course of the game and just get a couple of different looks out there with both Brink and Forrester in the lineup,
yeah.
should that come to pass. I think that's actually really important just to figure out what combination of those six guys like works well together, right?
Yeah, I think that would be good. But again, I just worry that Forster on the third line, he's going to miss some minutes and he's going to miss some opportunity, I think.
Yeah. Well, we'll see what
Here's
it
the other thought
turns
too. Sorry.
out to be.
The last final thought is, if you want Tippett to be one of your best scorers, then don't put him with another guy that you want to be one of your best scorers. That doesn't make sense on any level.
Yeah, I think that's a fair point as well. But we do have the game tonight against Vancouver to talk about. We're going to get into expectations for the Flyers overall, as well as a look at what Vancouver has been up to coming up next. Buying tickets to your favorite events should not be stressful. Game Time is the fast and easy way to buy tickets for all the sports, music, comedy, and theater near you. They've got killer deals on last minute tickets and their best price guarantee. You can stop stressing over the tickets and start getting hyped for all the fun you'll have. My favorite part of the Game Time app is that it's great for getting notified about last minute tickets and flash deals. Plus, you can get that all important view from your seat. My last Game Time purchase was the WNBA New York Liberty. I had a blast with great center court seats. The Game Time guarantee means you'll always get the best price. If you find tickets in the same section and row for less, Game Time will credit you 110% of the difference. Also, tickets are sent directly to your phone, so you never have to dig through your email. Take the guesswork out of buying tickets with Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use the code LOCKEDONNHL for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, create an account and redeem with the code LOCKEDONNHL. That's all one word for $20 off. Download Game Time today. Last minute tickets, lowest price guaranteed.
Today's episode is brought to you by a product that I use literally every day, AG1. I gave AG1 a try because I was tired of taking so many supplements and wanted a single solution that supports my entire body and covers my nutritional bases every day. I wanted better gut health, more energy, immune system support, but I hated taking pills, and I wanted a supplement that tastes great. I drink AG1 before starting my day, and it makes me feel ready to go, like I'm doing something good for my body and I'm giving my body the nutrition it needs. It can be hard and expensive to keep track of multiple supplements and vitamins, not to mention how hard it can be on your stomach. AG1 costs you less than $3 a day, and you're investing in your health and well-being. If a comprehensive solution is what you need from a supplement routine, then try AG1 and get a free 1-year supply of vitamin D and 5 free AG1 travel packs with your first purchase. Go to drinkag1.com/NHL Network. That's drinkag1.com/NHL Network. Check it out.
On the Wednesday show, we'll be talking about the home opener we have been talking about so far today. Plus, we'll answer your mailbag questions, so get them in. You can email us at lockedonflyers@gmail.com, send us a DM on the app formerly known as Twitter, or comment over on our YouTube channel. Russ, I think it's going to be really important for the Flyers to kind of recover from the loss in Ottawa. And one of the things we talked about on yesterday's show that they really need to improve on is special teams, right?
Yeah, they do need to improve on special teams. The Canucks have great players on the power play, including Quinn Hughes and Elias Pettersson, and just the puck movement of Hughes and the shot of Pettersson is enough to be worried about. Plus, you got Brock Besser. There's guys to be worried about on this team. So that's something where they got to just really block more shots and get the puck out. Like, that's it. They've got to be pretty basic about it. They've got to let Carter Hart see shots. That's going to be another big thing too. So yeah, that's going to be a factor. Like, if the Flyers get 6 power plays, they can't go 1 for 6 against Vancouver.
Yeah, and
stop the other 6 if they give
right. And Vancouver's special teams have been very good so far this season. Again, small sample size, 2 games in, but their power play is at 44%. That's not too shabby.
No.
And, they've been scoring a lot of goals. We talked about their 8-1 win over Edmonton to open the season. They followed it up with a rematch against the Oilers, winning 4-3 in Edmonton on Friday. We've also seen both their goaltenders get wins. I'm pretty sure we're going to see Thatcher Demko in net, but Casey DeSmith did win that second game for Vancouver. It's so weird to think about him on that team, but
I know. But we'll see Demko. He's got a history.
Yeah.
In Philly, because he was drafted there, and he also won. He also played in the Frozen Four in Philly when he had the double hip injury that nobody knew about, and he played. So he's played he likes it in Philly. I can tell you that.
Yeah. The only kind of rumblings I think in Canucks land right now is Connor Garland potentially being on the trading block there, and he's been on that top line with Pedersen and Kuzmenko, and they've been really good so far.
Oh yeah, yeah. Kuzmenko is tricky. Garland's got a great shot. Uh, Pedersen's got a shot too, but be worried about the second line too, because the thing is, JT Miller is very familiar with the Flyers. Like
Yeah.
that's a guy who has had really good success against the Flyers. He's just a guy who is a very greasy but talented goal scorer. But also, when you pair him up with Besser, Miller makes pucks loose, he jars pucks loose around the net, and Besser's got a deadly shot. And when he's healthy, like he had a 4-goal game already. So this is to me, this is a game where you really have to match up your defense and don't worry about which veterans you're playing. If you really want to win this game, then match up the right guys in this game, because I'm telling you, otherwise it could be a problem.
Yeah, I think so as well. They also have Beauvillier,
Yeah.
who they acquired who on their third line. And, their bottom six are actually contributing. They've gotten contributions up and down the lineup offensively so far. But again, Elias Pettersson is tied for the league lead in points, early goings, but still up
But he's
there.
that guy. Like he's getting 100 points. Like,
Yeah.
you can't. There's not one guy. If you shut down Vancouver, you say, okay, they're shut down. They're a good skating team. They have toughness. They have some size. Their problem is sometimes their defense is a little porous. But
Yeah.
the Flyers are going to have to really skate with them and skate the puck deep and actually get past their defense to make all that happen. Because Quinn Hughes, that first pairing is very good. Hughes is a
Right.
really good puck retriever. It's just because he's small doesn't mean he's not good. And the problem is on the breakout, he's great. And so you have to try and disrupt right out of the gate, because otherwise he will make these big time cross ice passes or stretch passes.
Right. And that's where I think the Flyers really have to utilize the guys they do have that have some
Yeah.
speed, in and get those good matchups, and they'll at least have last change this time around. So they should be able to manage that a little bit better than they did in the first couple games on the road. And yeah, I think, the Canucks defense is their weak-ish point, but they've been playing really well so far in their first couple of games. And the Ian Cole Tyler Myers pairing isn't too shabby either. I think
No, I
that
mean Cole still has it, and he's a
yeah,
rugged defenseman who could do a lot of things. And Myers, while he is prone to an occasional turnover, just that size and the reach that he has, and he's a good skater, is problematic. So he's a decent skater, he's not a great skater. That's problematic. And in my head, I'm thinking you can't have Stahl and Sealer in this one. You just shouldn't.
no.
If you want to have
eh,
Stahl for the block shots, fine. But don't put in Sealer just because you might want to fight, or you just want that little extra toughness, because this is the wrong game to match up to at least pair these two guys together, I feel.
Well, I think at the very least, Zamula needs to be in this game.
Yes.
I think I think it's important for Zamula, first off, to play up against a team like Vancouver with those offensive weapons that they have, just to get his feet wet with some of those guys. And then also, I just think the matchup would be better. I think we need
Yeah,
Zamula's
he's a good
size.
puck mover. He's got a little
Mhm,
size. He skates
yeah.
very well. He should be replacing one of the slower guys. So I could see keeping Walker in there because he's fast. That's fine. But he should be replacing one of the other slower guys.
Yeah, and I don't think that, this Canucks team is gonna be especially scrappy. They can be, but I don't think that that should be an element to this game. So I really feel like it's okay to sit Sealer. I just don't know if
Right.
they're gonna actually do that, right?
No, they probably won't. I mean, let's be realistic. We know that they should, but they're probably not going to do that. Uh, and yeah, if the fourth line's going to try and get them off the game by being tough, make sure you don't put them on the power play, because that's going to be the worst thing you could do. Is if all of a sudden you're having to deal with their power play because of this toughness that you want to put out there. You got to be careful with that.
Yeah, I think so. But it should be a really challenging game
Yeah,
for the Flyers. And I think it's just a matter of tightening up everything that they're doing defensively, whether it's on the PK or whether it's 5-on-5. I just think they have to be better about their positioning and they have to start winning some of those battles in the corners to be
they
able to
really do
break
need to
out
win
the
some
puck.
corner battles. You're right. That's a big thing, and they need to get the puck up the ice smoothly. And if they're going to do
Yeah.
that slingshot on the power play, somebody's got to get into the zone with some speed because otherwise they're just going to sniff it out.
Yeah, and I have no doubt that this Vancouver group can stand up at their own blue line and
Yeah.
prevent quality zone entries on their own PK. So we'll see how it goes. Excited for all the pomp and circumstance around the home opener
Yeah,
with
it's
the
always fun. The home
intros.
openers are great.
We'll find out what the new goal song is and all of that. So, very excited to see what happens there. In the meantime, the Phantoms opened their season, and we want to catch up with their weekend as well. And we will do that coming up next.
Snap into action this NFL season with FanDuel, America's #1 sports book. Right now, new customers get $200 in bonus bets guaranteed when you place a $5 bet. I was telling people, bet the Jets. They don't listen. That's $200 in bonus bets, win or lose. If you've been thinking about joining FanDuel, there's no better time to get in on the action. The app's easy to use. There's a wide range of betting options, including spreads, player props, over-unders, and more. So visit FanDuel.com/lockedon and kick off the NFL season. FanDuel, official partner of the NFL.
All right, Russ, that was cold mentioning the Jets there. Anyway, the Phantoms split their opening weekend games. This 5-2 score seems to be floating around.
Yeah.
It was the Flyers Senators score. And they lost their first game to Cleveland 5-2 and won their second game against the Belleville Senators 5-2. So that is the score of the week. But I think that it was a good weekend overall, I would say. Now, they played horribly in that first game, but the fact that
Yeah.
they were able to bounce back in the second game and really tighten things up, played really remarkably, especially on the penalty kill. The Phantoms scored 3 shorthanded goals in
Wow,
the
that's
game
crazy.
on Sunday. Yeah, just really good awareness there across the board, being able to pick up loose pucks and take advantage of those opportunities. I would say that, um, as far as the veterans out there, I would say that Cooper Marody had the best weekend overall. Scored the first goal of the season and then scored again on Sunday. We had some debuts as well with Ethan Sampson, Matt Brown, Jacob Goucher, and Alexei Gendron having their first games with the Phantoms this weekend. So that's always a lot of fun to see. Garrett Wilson officially got the C, Louis Belpedio with the A, and then Victor Mete, Cooper Marody, um, Tanner Laczynski all will be rotating A's
That's
throughout
good. I
the
mean, that
season.
part I like. Yeah, the Cleveland game was a little inexplicable. The I'm looking over Belleville though. They are lacking some offensive push. I mean, they have Tyler Boucher, but he's not a big time offensive guy. They're talented on the blue line. They have some really good blue line prospects
Right.
and some okay offensive prospects. So I think the Phantoms, they do have a better offense than Belleville. Cleveland,
They
that one they could have done better.
Yeah, Cleveland is always a tough opponent,
Yes.
so, I think that that one was gonna be a rough game for them no matter what, but I will say that, in talking about some of the guys that are borderline or have had more NHL experience, you look at Tanner Laczynski, one of those aforementioned rotating A's on the team. He had a pretty solid weekend, a phenomenal game on Sunday with a goal and 2
Yeah,
assists.
it's a big game.
His specific play on the boards created the shorthanded goal for Cooper Marody in the first. His goal was a 5-on-3 power play goal. He almost had a shorty in the second period himself. that didn't go, and so I was really glad to see him step it up.
Yeah, me too. The interesting thing is, I think there's going to be a point where we're going to be arguing on this show. Shouldn't Laczynski be a quicker call up than even Wade Allison, unless Wade really kind of gets it together down there? So that's something, because I think Laczynski is playing with more urgency right now. Like, he knows this is a big time year for him.
Yeah, absolutely. Samo Tuamala, I thought he had a good game on Saturday with some decent scoring chances. He had a goal for the weekend. He was the second of the two goals in the losing effort there. Alexei Gendron, though, man, he is after it. I love to see it.
Yeah, he's got great speed and a great shot. It's just, will he get ice up at the NHL level? Like, will there be that opportunity? That's the whole thing
well,
with him.
right, and that's the thing is he was only in the lineup on Sunday. Brendan Furry checked out of the
Right.
lineup for this one. And they really didn't make a ton of changes. They swapped out the whole fourth line on Sunday, plus putting Gendron in, and then Samson checked out and Karasik checked in on the blue line. But I think that they really are going to have to, like, Gendron's going to force them to keep him in the lineup. Like it just feels like
Yeah,
that's
I
the
can
way he's
see that
playing.
happening. I can. Something I didn't like was, and I don't know, I didn't get to see the game, what precipitated Helge Grans fighting, but I saw the clip of it. He shouldn't be fighting. Like,
No,
like, I get it. The AHL sometimes has a little bit more fighting than what I would like in hockey, right? And I get it. People like it, fine. But there's certain guys that you should say, all right, this guy really shouldn't be fighting. And I don't recall ever seeing him fight.
no, it was a very weird situation that created like a 4-on-3 um, eh,
Right.
during the game, and it was just like I didn't really understand why that had to happen at that point in the game. But I do want to talk about the blue line a little bit.
Mhm.
Uh, well, there, Adam Ginning had a goal on the PK on Sunday. Was one of those shorthanded goals. Really great move on the shot. Goalie change for Belleville immediately thereafter. So when you chase a goalie out, that's
That's
always
nice.
a good sign
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
for for him. And I love the Attard and Ginning pairing. They're continuing to play
That could
well
be a pairing for
together.
the Flyers in a year or two. I do like
Yeah, and
the
I'm
way they play together. I'm with you on that. They play really well.
Yeah, and I certainly hope that Ian LaPerriere keeps them together,
Yeah, it makes
on the
sense.
Phantoms. Yeah, and I love to see that. As far as the goaltending goes, Cal Peterson played the first game in the loss, 27 saves on
People didn't
32
seem to
shots.
much good vibes on Cal there. I saw a lot of bad tweets.
Parker Gahagan had played a pretty good game on Sunday, 28 saves on 30 shots. Really settled into it after that tough opening to the game with the Phantoms going down 2-0 early
Yeah, I
in
need
that
to
one.
watch
But
him play. I don't know him at all.
yeah, I thought he played really well for the rest of that game and made some really great saves. But some guys had some better games than others. I thought Desnoyers not on the board, but had some really good chances on Saturday and excellent penalty kill time on Sunday. Really made some
Well, at least
great
he's
heads up
making
plays.
some strides there, but we got to start seeing him doing stuff. Like, he he
Yep.
it's not good for him if he goes like 5 games without scoring or something, because it's gonna, it's not gonna help him get called up.
Yeah. So only 2 games in. I think, not going to start worrying about some of these guys until like 5 or 6 games
Right.
in. But,
5 games is the
wait out.
mark that we start.
Yeah, so maybe after next weekend, we'll check in with
Right.
guys like Wade Allison and Ollie Lixel and, see where they are. Zayde Wisdom, who only played in one of the 2 games this weekend as well. We do have 3 games this upcoming weekend to look forward to. We've got Friday at Springfield, and then Saturday at Hartford, and then Springfield comes to the Phantoms on Sunday. So big 3-game weekend ahead, and hopefully we get some more guys in on the action.
Yeah, that'd be great.
All right, that will do it for today's show. Thanks so much for listening. Tomorrow on the show, we will recap the game against the Canucks, plus have our mailbag. As a reminder, we always want to hear from you. So send us in your questions. You can comment over on YouTube, email us at lockedonflyers@gmail.com, or send us a message over on Twitter. I'm Rachel. I'm on Twitter at rmiriam. That's RMIRIAM.
I'm Russ. I'm at Sportsology, SPORTSOLOGY.
Have a great day, everyone.